Hello friends, Demajen here, and welcome to a video about Guns of Fury. Not a full review by any stretch of the imagination. It is a map announcement video by several stretches of the imagination. I don't even know what that means. I'm not scripting this video. I have no idea how long it is going to be. So you are forewarned, I'm going to ramble a little bit. Let's get this out of the way. I enjoyed Guns of Fury. I enjoyed Guns of Fury despite what I consider to be several fairly significant flaws. I am not in any way saying it is a bad game. It's a game that I think a lot of people will get a lot more out of than I did. Let's put it that way. For me, Guns of Fury is going in at the B tier despite some fairly significant flaws, in my opinion. There are three things really, but I'll talk about the third one in a second. There are two things that I really don't like in Metroidvania games. Because I'm old, because I'm impatient, because I just don't like them particularly. The first of these is hard checkpointing. Now, if you don't know, hard checkpointing is when you save, anything you do, uncover, find, blah blah blah, after that save point is lost if you die. It is a retro, it's old school, there are lots of people that love it, there are people that think it adds to the challenge, and it does, but in a Metroidvania, the genre about going around and discovering cool things and uncovering the map, for me, there's nothing that kind of dampens that as much of, oh, I found these things, but I've died and I have to go and find them again. It kind of takes away that feeling of excitement and exploration and reward for me, personally. Some people like it, I just don't. It's a very personal thing. I'm not saying that games that do hard checkpointing are bad games. It's just not something that I particularly like. The second thing is consumable healing. Games where you pick up apples and cakes and fruit or potions or whatever, and you have to go into your menu to use the apple in the middle of combat to restore 12 HP or whatever, or stuff like that. I don't like those systems. Nothing breaks the flow of combat for me more than having to pause the game, go into your inventory, find the appropriate consumable that you want to use, clicking a button, getting out of the inventory, finding your place back in combat, probably immediately getting hit if you're low skill like me, and so on and so forth. I don't like that style of healing. I like games that give you a nice dedicated heal button, and that give you, to be fair, one of two types of systems. Either the Surge 2 / Liza P / Hollow Knight style energy recovery by hitting enemies style system, or an Estus Flask style system. Yes, most of the examples that I've chosen there are Souls-likes. I just like that style of healing system. It just speaks to me. I still think the Surge 2 and Liza P have got the best healing systems of games that I've played. Do they make the game a bit easier? Yeah. Do I still like them regardless? Yeah. I think Liza P actually does healing better than any From Software game. I'll let that sink in for a second just so I can go and prepare myself for the hate comments down below. Let's talk about map, because I've got a map on the screen here. This is the actual map. It's a little bit blurry because I've just blown it up quickly. This is the actual map from Guns of Fury. It is a very classic, traditional Symphony of the Night style map. It's blue with white borders, it's got shops in orange, it's got fast travel rooms in kind of a light tealy greeny style colour, and I am not a fan of it in the slightest. Does this mean I'm not a fan of it in Super Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Also, yes. I don't like it. I am, and I've told this story many a time before, but I cannot guarantee that you've seen my other videos, so I'll say it again. I have got an awful sense of direction. I get lost in Metroidvanias very, very easily. The entire journey that I have been on in terms of cartography in Metroidvania games started off because I kept getting lost in Hollow Knight. I couldn't wrap my head around that space at all, even with the in-game map. Thanks Corner for not showing up when you wanted him to. Keeping in mind that I played it at launch before they made Corner more obvious. So I struggle to find my way around maps. This one at least has a decent finding of the map system, and it uncovers as you go, but obviously combined with hard checkpointing, that progress disappears if you die. There are many problems that I've got with this map. First of all, I really appreciate it when developers go out of their way to colour code different areas, so that I can at least in my brain equate a particular place on this big blue blob to an area in the actual world, in the game space. And there's none of that here. You know, I could tell you what roughly the areas are now because I've spent 40 plus hours working on a map for the game. But just looking at this as I was going, I was really, really struggling to wrap my head around my geographical location. So that is issue number 1 with Guns of Fury's map. Issue number 2 is that it's quite a large world and there are a fair number of power-ups, and as I was playing through the game, I utilised the game's map marker system because you can put custom pins down. The trouble is, they're not massively easy to tell apart unless you zoom in quite a way, because they're all the same shape, they're just slightly different colours. There's a purple one and an orangey one and a bluey one, I think, something like that. But after a while I stopped using them, and I stopped using them because I ran out. And there were at least a dozen or so more places that I wanted to mark on the map. For things like, oh, you need a double jump to get up here. Oh, you need a slide to get through there. Oh, you need a wall climb to get through here. There were so many places in the game that I couldn't mark down because I didn't have enough map pins. And that felt bad because I'm infamous for not bothering to use map pins anyway, because I can't remember why I chose this map pin to represent this thing. But I thought, oh yeah, this map's blue. I need to do something to help me get around, so I'm going to use the map pins. And by about 3 hours in, so I'd run out, and I hadn't got the powers that I needed to start getting rid of them. So, limited map pins in a game where you've got quite a lot that needs pinning. But arguably the biggest problem that I had with Guns of Fury is it's not going to be a problem for everybody. It's the lack of direction. I got to a stage in the game, probably about halfway to 2/3 of the way through, where I just didn't know where to go. There were no hints in the dialogue or the story, and to be honest, I did things out of order anyway, as it turns out, because the bosses are numbered, and I completed bosses 9 and 10, I think it was, before I even found boss 8. But It's a game where you find A and you need to take it to B, but there's no way of knowing where B is unless you happen to have marked it on the map with one of the very limited number of map pins that you have. It's a game that's crying out for a guide, essentially. So let's talk guides, because I've made a couple of guides. Well, 3 actually guides for this game. I've spent 40 plus hours on my main map, but I'm not going to talk about that for just a moment. I'll put timestamps down below or something. So let's talk me trying to fix this map. The very first thing that I did with this map was color code stuff. And for me, that is much, much easier to read. It doesn't add on any information apart from the names of the places and the borders of the places. It doesn't tell you where anything is, but it tells you what the different areas are. I didn't do this as I was going through. This is something that I did after I'd already finished the game and unlocked the map, and I wish I'd been doing this as I went along, because I found this just trying to help people out by answering questions and stuff. I found just referring to this map quite useful. So this is what the map looks like in terms of area. But the thing that I've mostly been seeing people ask about is, well, where do I find this? Where do I go for X or Y? Where do you find this ability? And even using this map, you can say, oh, well, it's in the mining site or it's in the old battleground, but you've still got to try and describe where something is based on, its relation to a save point or its relation to the shape of a room or this, that, and the other. It's like, that's still not enough for this game, is it? Because there's a lot of places that you need to go to get to and so on and so forth, and this actually isn't enough. So this took me a while to figure out how to do, but I've created this version. And we've got actual grid coordinates that you can use to say, oh yes, this save point is in 42.4 or whatever it is. It's not brilliant because it is such a wide map, but it is usable. It works. If you just want a static image, this is available in my Google Drive at demajen.co.uk under Guns of Fury. You can just go and use this to your heart's content. Print it out, save a copy, write on it, do whatever you want to with it. I have started off point of origin down in the bottom left hand corner because I was taught to read maps across then up, just like you'd read a graph. If you are one of the people that is more computer orientated and the point of origin is in the top left hand corner of the screen, this map is the wrong way round for you. If you want to do a version with that, I'm sure you can change the numbers for yourself. But this is still kind of awkward to use. So, I am not a coding expert. I don't know basically anything about JavaScript. What little I've been able to do on my website has been with the help of ChatGPT, which I don't really like using anyway, but I will use it for writing code. I definitely won't use it for writing anything else. I certainly won't use it for art. Don't at me about that in the comments. But it is quite useful for trying to do things in code. So what I've got in front of me here is the same as the image version that I've done. Although this one's made from scratch, because it had to be. It had to be made from scratch, because the actual in-game map isn't quite right. The squares aren't actually all the same size. So I had to recreate it from scratch, which is a bit annoying. But it was an afternoon well spent, and it's not like I can concentrate much with my heart issues anyway. So what is this? What's it do? Well, this is an interactive coordinate finder. That's basically all it does. You can hover over a square. As far as I know, you need to do this in a browser. I very much doubt it will work on a phone. I haven't tried it. It is rough. If anybody knows anything about JavaScript and wants to, download the JS file, you can find it in the inspect for this. If you want to make it better so that it's, it can't be dragged to create massive amounts of space around it, a bit like the Google Drive Maps preview thing, that'd be great. I don't know enough about it, but what we've got at least is a way of you figuring out coordinates for stuff. Is it useful? I don't know. It might be useful at some point for some people, but it's here, it's free. Demajen.co.uk/goth.html. If you want to use it, use it. It was an interesting experiment this afternoon. Of perhaps more use to people is this. And in fact, you can tell it's of use to people because there are literally people viewing it right now. Hello to Anonymous Dumbo Octopus and Anonymous Ibex. And so, Ibex? How do you even pronounce that? I don't know. We don't have those here in Britain. So this is... It's got a reference to the map there. This is it's another spreadsheet like I did for Afterimage. It's nothing exciting, it's nothing major. It just lists all of the stuff that you can find in the game. It lists all of the treasures and in many cases where you can find some of them. The coordinates are based on the coordinate grid for this map and of course the interactive one. I made sure that they use the exact same coordinates because I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid. So this has got all of the treasures in the game. Some of them, if there's loads of different places that you can find them, or if they drop from enemies, then they've just got common. Necklace, red ring. There's loads of locations that you can find some of these. Some of them have only got one or two. I've only put one set of coordinates down. And these are all the items in the game as well. I haven't done the coordinates for these yet. I was working on the interactive thing instead. I will go through and sort these out. You'll notice that many of the coordinates have got asterisks. That's because I just guesstimated based on the composite map that I'm going to show you, as well as this version of the map. So realistically, I do actually need to go to a lot of these places to make sure that they are spot on. But that is again, in my opinion, a reasonably useful resource for you, and that is available in the Google Drive for you. As is this. That's a segue, isn't it? What we have got here, friends, is a 5% size preview of my Guns of Fury actual map. Not the version that's down in the corner here, the little kind of recolored version of the actual game map. No. This is the game. Stapled and stitched together. Every single room in the game laid out, connected, annotated. This is a preview of a slightly older version. I'll show you the new version in a second. I've spruced it up a little bit. Now, how accurate is this? 99-ish%. I discovered as I was going through this that 95 to 99% of the rooms in the game line up perfectly. And the other little bits don't. So there are a few instances on this map, if you're looking at it versus looking at the game, and you'll think, well, the version in game doesn't look quite like that. No. In some cases, I've had to shorten sections ever so slightly, or I've had to stretch rooms or even redraw rooms, hopefully you won't be able to tell, ever so slightly, just to get the loops linking up. Does it make a big difference? No. In fact, chances are if I hadn't said it, you probably wouldn't notice it. But I just found it really interesting that they clearly put so much work into connecting all of the rooms up. There were just like 5 or 6 rooms in the entire game where they were just a little bit too short or just a little bit too long. Maybe they were early on in the process. I don't know. I just found it really, really interesting. A couple of them I have actually picked out on the map. Just for interest's sake, really. So yeah, there's a preview for what you are getting if you go to coffee.com and grab yourself a copy of the Guns of Fury composite map. It's a big one. Let's take a look at it. Here we go then. This is the Guns of Fury composite map. In its 1.0 release state, it is massive. This is 4% of the actual size. The true size of the image is 91,173 pixels wide by 15,187 pixels tall. It is a very, very horizontal map. It is sprawlingly horizontal. I've tried to make most of my maps 16:9 aspect ratio recently. Can't do that with this. Obviously, it looked really, really silly when I got it at a 16:9 aspect ratio. There was just a load of stuff at the top and bottom that was completely blank. So this is 4%. Let's take a look at what it's like at 100%. Oops, let's not do that. So this is what the map looks like at 100%. And you'll notice some weirdness. You'll notice some floating vehicles or some floating enemies or this, that and the other. This is not a composite map in the sense that I went through and I screenshotted a load of stuff. I've got no issues whatsoever with telling you how I put this map together. Guns of Fury is a Game Maker Studio game. And one of the fun things about Game Maker Studio is that I can access the room files. So this game is, surprise, surprise, made up of a series of rooms, and they are linked together by little kind of transporty points. You can actually see that I've left them on there. They're the lines in pink. And it transports you from one room into the next. But because I've got access to various tools, and these are freely available, you can go and look up how to do this for yourself on the internet, I can take a look at the rooms as the devs have put them together. And you can actually delete and disable and make invisible certain things if you want to using various tools. So I went through every single room in the game, and there's 200 or so of them, so this took me several hours to do. And I deleted the player object spawn points, and I deleted the camera, though I don't think it made any difference. And I deleted the player health bar because that got in the way. And I went and deleted the masks covering any hidden areas. And I went and deleted most of the breakable walls that hid passages. Not the breakable walls that had consumables and stuff behind. But I went through every single room and I deleted those. And then I saved the room as a PNG. And then I went through and I stitched them all together into this. And that took 8-ish hours. Because whilst not a particularly difficult process, it is a time-consuming process. And then I got to rooms like this, where I realised that actually... Oh, you can't see my mouse cursor. There we go. Don't know why you couldn't see my mouse cursor. Rooms like this. This is one of those rooms that I was talking about that's not actually like this in-game. This bit here is shorter in-game. I've had to, as seamlessly as I could, stretch it out ever so slightly so that things would fit and link up, because they just don't quite do it otherwise. So there are a load of rooms in game. This one, for example, this section here looks ever so slightly different in game. The elevator over here, no, here, again, looks ever so slightly different in game. There are a load, well no, there's not a load, but there are several rooms where I've just had to tweak them ever so slightly in order to get them to fit together. But this is actual size. This isn't rescaled. This is the actual scale that the game is designed at. Obviously, it's upscaled for your monitor, but this is literally 1-for-1 pixel art. You can actually see the pixel density there. This is 1-for-1 the pixel art in the game, which is why this is such a big document. So if you view this at 100% like this is what it actually looks like. It's scaled. You will see some things like this. These are the tracks for the elevators. I left those in places. You got some bits and pieces for the steps as well. I probably should have taken those out, but I was being lazy for certain things because this was already taking so much time. Wall climb bits have mostly got the highlighted stuff on. This was a really interesting map to put together. It's always interesting taking a look at Game Maker games because the tools I've got do show you so much information. But even with all this, I then needed to go through and add on, for clarity I suppose, the locked doors, the breakable walls, the pistols that you can find, any of a multitude of different kind of cache things. I tried to make the save point icons more obvious, all the weapons where you need keys for, and this was the thing that realistically took me the most time. There are so many treasures in this game. Behind breakable walls, in crates and so on and so forth. A lot of the contents of crates and stuff are randomized afterwards, but I think the first time you break them, some of them have specific items in. So I marked all of them on. I could be wrong with this. It could have been a colossal waste of time, but I did it anyway. So if you don't get a silver watch from breaking that crate the first time, or if you don't get an ointment from breaking that crate for the first time, that'll be why. This is literally based on my playthrough as I did it. But everything that I found is on here, and I have 100%ed the game in new game mode. I know that some of the shops have slightly expanded inventories in New Game Plus, but yeah. So all of the bosses are on here and numbered. All of the health expansions are on here. All of the ammo expansions are on here. All of the melee weapons, the pistols, the guns, they're essentially relics that you can equip. No, not relics. They're trinkets that you can equip. You can only have one equipped at a time. Some of them do special things. Those are all on here as well. Throwable / grenade style weapons, sub-weapon style things, they are all on here. Foods that you can find are on here. Locked doors. Anything that's got a big, slightly bigger than the others, pink icon is a special thing for a quest. There's 4 herbs and 4 special metals for the doctor or for the gunsmith. I've tried to make those as clear as possible, and other specific items as well that you kind of really need to be able to find the locations of. I made those slightly bigger. There are various hatches in the game where if you've got the correct key, they're all big, you can access a specific type of mech suit. I've made sure that those are large as well. Shop inventories are all on here. Special call out boxes for specific things are all on here. Area names, shop inventories, the big treasure room. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this game. There's a lot of things that you think, oh yeah, I need to mark to come back to that, or oh, where was that thing? Next to a lot of the key items, I've told you where to take them and what zone they are in, so that you can find your way around easier. There are certain places where I've marked out different switches that you need to destroy. I've tried to make this as helpful and one-stop shop as I could, because for me, getting around this game was a bit of a nightmare because of because of this base map. Does this line up in the same way as this? Not quite. It doesn't quite have the same aspect ratio. But yeah, everything is on here apart from some ending information. I believe somebody posted about that on the Steam forums today, but I haven't had a chance to update this document. I needed to get this video made. So, if you want, and I'll probably end up changing my mind on this at some point. If you want this map, this is just free. You can go and get this in the Google Drive right now. Go nuts with it. Do whatever you want with it. Use it for speedrun routes. Blow it up. Add your own notations to it. Use this however you want. This is not a case of, oh no, don't use this for anything. This is for you to do whatever with. Go nuts. Enjoy. If you want a copy of this massive 40+ hour composite map, for now, you're going to have to pay for it. Oh, no, you don't like it when people make us pay for guides? Then you don't get the guide. Frankly, I am done messing around with this. It took me 40 hours. Will there be a free version of this at some point? Honestly, I don't know. I really don't. I will see. This is going to sound very capitalist on me. I'll see what the sales are like. I'll see if a load of people buy it. But as it is, 40+ hours is a lot of work. And yes, I'm not very well, and therefore I've had the time on my hands, but equally, I have got no other income right now. The only way I am making money is through selling maps on coffee.com. I am not well enough to do my teaching job. There is no way that you would get me in front of a class of teenagers right now and have me last the day. I'm just not healthy enough. So yeah, for now, £3 will get you this map at full resolution, full quality PNG, or a 50% size JPEG version. And it has to be a 50% size JPEG version because the full size one is too big to be a JPEG. JPEG's got a maximum dimension and pixel count. It's too big. Can't do it. So it has to be 50% size. This is 50% size. It's still plenty readable. But you know me, I like to do things the hard way, and that was 100% size in the game files, so I made it at 100% size because I'm weird like that. Is there stuff that I still need to tidy up and clean up? Yeah, there is. I'm not going to say what those things are, but there are a few things. You'll probably spot them if you're really paying attention to stuff. Are some things probably slightly wrong, slightly off? Are there some things inconsistent in places? Yeah, probably. But in terms of, do you know where to go to get the herbs? Do you know where the shop inventories are? Do you know what the quests are? Do you have all of the metroidvania abilities on here? Yeah, it is, I think, pretty exhaustive. It was also, I would argue, one of the most exhausting maps that I've ever put together. There are a lot of layers on this map thanks to all of these little treasures, and as I said, I really do hope that it was worth putting on all the ones that are found in crates and stuff. But you know, if somebody wants to let me know in the comments below whether actually no, they were just random and I just got I didn't need to write any of this stuff on, by all means, let me know. I'm not going to go and shoot myself over it or anything like that, but yeah. So, Guns of Fury, a good game, let down for me by 3 decisions. A pretty poor, in my experience and opinion, in-game map, hard checkpointing, and consumable healing. None of these things were deal breakers, but considering how much I didn't like them, or I don't like those systems in general, the fact that I still put this game on my B tier should tell you something about the quality of the game. If you don't mind those things, then this could be an A or even S tier title for you. The soundtrack is excellent, the pixel art, as you can tell from actually looking at it on the map, the pixel art is wonderful. It's not quite Soldiers level of wonderful, but it's clearly a fusion of Metroidvania and Metal Slug, and it captures that pretty darn well, in my opinion. As always, if you want to find out more about me and what I'm doing, you can head over to demajen.co.uk, where you will find a plethora, a treasure trove almost, of information these days. You've got my somewhat recently slightly revamped website, where you will find all of the Metroidvania games that I have mapped in terms of what tags I've given them, what style of map, a link to my coffee.com store if there's a high quality map available, links to the games on whatever platform they are available on. You'll also find little tier list icons in the corner. There's over 100 of them that have been mapped at this point, but that's not all, because you can also find, in case you were wondering, the placement of the 100 plus games that I've played on my tier list. So you can see, what did Demajen think of Ori in the Blind Forest? What did Demajen think of Unworthy? What did Demajen think of the Ramsey? What games has Demajen played that he bounced off of for whatever reason? Sometimes just because I got distracted. For those of you asking me what's happened with Mini Shoot Adventures, I just got distracted and I haven't been back to it, and I really do need to. Games in the F tier aren't F because they're bad, they're in F because I didn't finish them. Games that I didn't enjoy are also in the F tier. That's where Mark of the Deep is, for those of you who've been asking about that. Games that are in early access, games that are not played, games that sadly don't seem to be releasing, or we've also got a page full of upcoming games. This used to be on my tier list page. This is now separated out because there were just too many things on here. Demo for Modra has just come out. We've got some games coming up that I'm quite looking forward to playing. And we've got the retrospectives, in case any of you have watched my retrospective videos from the last few years. All of the games featured in those videos are on this page, which has got the games that I played in the order that I mapped them, and it's even got 2025's stuff, even though I haven't even thought about making the video for that just yet, because I've got an entire year of games to get through. If you do want to support me, which would be incredibly kind of you, you can head over to coffee.com/Demajen. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. You can toss me a donation, whatever amount you want. £3, £5, £9 are just default amounts. You can change that to whatever you want. You can pay via PayPal or via Stripe. Those are the only things that I've got, and I think they're the only things that coffee.com offers. I'd like to be able to diversify that, but I just don't think there is the option. Yeah, you can take a look through my store and find out what is available, and you've got a big feed of stuff that I just randomly talk about and waffle about in terms of Metroidvania games. I'm going to go now. Thank you very much for watching, for sticking with. I hope you get use out of the website. I hope you get use out of the spreadsheets. Thank you, Anonymous. As I said, loads of information over in the Google Drive for you to check out. Guns of Fury, good game. enjoyed it. As I said, comes in on my tier list in the B tier. For many of you, could very well be a good chunk higher if you don't have the niggles of getting lost like I do, and the consumable healing and the hard checkpointing. Still a better game than many I have played. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. As I said, don't know what I'm going to do about a free version of the composite map. It might happen, it might not. I know that there are some people that would like to pay for my maps, but don't have a way of doing so because of regional currency or what they've got available to them. Get in touch via private message on Coffee and I'll see what I can do to help people out with that. I can't promise anything, but I don't like locking stuff behind paywalls anyway, realistically. But right now, I'm broke. So, there we go. Stay safe, stay fabulous, have a great day. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.